Okay, guys, so when you are grooming a dog, there are going to be times that a dog is just so completely overstressed, you're going to need to stop the grooming. Let's talk about that in this episode of the Grooming by Rudy podcast.
You're listening to the Grooming by Rudy podcast.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Grooming by Rudy podcast. For those of you who do not know us, we are father and son dog grooming duo with over 55 years of dog grooming experience. And the purpose of this channel is to teach you guys about dog grooming. So let's get into it. Ant, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Lately, I've noticed that you've been showering a lot more often. Like, is there something wrong? What's going on?
Something
Why?
wrong. No. Well, weather's getting nicer. And I don't know, just trying to, when you look better, you feel better kind of thing,
Okay.
So I've been trying to wash away the stink of the day before a little bit, keep up with it a little bit more. Got a haircut recently,
Yeah.
still long, but I got it like tied up. I don't know. With the weather getting nicer, I just want to feel a little bit better.
That's commendable.
Well, thank you. I've noticed that something happened because all of a sudden you're like showering less. It seems. I don't know.
You know what? This is true.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's very true. And it's weird because it is kind of like we're doing opposite here. For me, I've been very lazy. I don't know why. Like, I think it's just the weather change, the time change. I've been very, very lazy, and I keep putting it off. It's like, just do it tomorrow. I'll shower tomorrow, and I'll shower tomorrow. But like after like 2 or 3 days, you just, I better do that today. I got to get to it. Quickly.
You used to like. He's weird. Like we would get ready to film this, and for a while, you always used to be like right before we hit record, like, all right, I'm going to shave real quick. And I'd be like, hey, Dad, now? You're going to shave now? No, yeah, because it'll be nice and fresh for when we're on camera and everything. And like all of a sudden, you're not doing that as much. Now I just I get here, we press record and we go.
Yeah.
With no back talk from you whatsoever.
Yeah, like you even went to the dentist recently.
Yeah, on Monday.
That's crazy. Like
Yeah.
you're really taking care of yourself. That's good, because you kind of needed it though. You needed it.
The dentist is dude. I didn't go to the dentist for 17 years until a couple years ago, and I got away with it. I don't know. They still tell me today that whenever I go there, even they're amazed. They're like, I have some bone loss now. But like when I first started going back to the dentist, they were like, you must not drink like soda. And I was like, I drink soda, but I only drink diet, so I don't like sugar. And they were like, you not liking sugar probably saved every tooth in your mouth from not coming to the dentist for 17 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Good old periodontal cleaning on that.
Yeah, well, that's what I went back after so many years, and then I obviously needed a deep cleaning, a periodontal cleaning, and I was like, that sucked. I'm never doing that again. So I haven't missed a dentist appointment since.
Yeah. Well, you were probably the over stressed client at the dentist, like we're going to talk about here with overstressed dogs in dog grooming.
Yeah, I was stressed.
You were stressed. Yeah, I always stress at the dentist because I look at these gazappers. I have lasagna mouth.
Nah.
Anyway, let's get into this show, guys. Enough of this. So listen, if you are a dog groomer out there or you're planning on grooming your dog, listen, guys, there can be quite an issue with a dog that is overstressed, okay? And we're stressing this because we see it all the time. Some of the signs of a dog being overstressed is a dog will come into your shop, or you'll start grooming the dog, or you'll break out with the clippers or the scissors, and the dogs will just you can just feel their vibration. They'll start panting really, really hard and shaking, and they'll just get very, very nervous. They'll start squirming around. If they come into your shop, they'll look at you and they'll just beeline to the door. They see the groomer, they're terrified. It's like a kid trying to get a haircut. They're just so scared and already stressed before the process has even begun. Another thing is, you put them in the crate or and they'll just excessively like bark or whine. They'll just, the whole time, like they won't let up. Okay. And they'll just kind of just really, really be overly stressed before the process even begins.
Another sign of that too is a lot of excessive scratching or even biting at the cage. We've seen that a lot, where dogs all of a sudden will start they'll start literally biting the bars of the cage or scratching at it like really, really hard, and that's dangerous in itself because if the dog could get his teeth stuck in there, or if their paws going through, if the slits are wide enough, their paw can get through it, their paw can get stuck. Just a lot of danger there, a lot of stress happening, and that could happen to a sweetheart of a dog too. That's not even getting into like aggressive dogs, and there's some signs for that too. Like if a dog is a truly aggressive dog, it'll stare at your every move, and the longer you're in this business, the easier you pick up on stuff like that. Like I've talked to groomers at shows even where they're like experts at it, because there's hundreds and hundreds of dogs at these grooming shows, and they're not always friendly. Most of the time people put like muzzles on their dogs if they're bringing them to a show and they know the dogs aren't like crazy about people, but they're okay as long as they're muzzled. Like certain people can just pick it out and be like, nope, that dog is staring at me. Just you move to the left, the dog is like just staring at you. So it's something you kind of get used to noticing. And what also they could do is like cowering. They'll cower away from you, especially in the cage, which also sweet dogs do too. Some dogs are just cage shy. An aggressive dog is more likely to cower away from you when it knows it has exits and areas to go, and it still just sort of like doesn't want to be near you. It's always in like retreat mode. It's staring and retreating always. And then the obvious like snarling and biting. Like that happens a lot. Like an aggressive dog, it's usually the first sign. If you're lucky, an aggressive dog will show you its teeth right away, because then you don't have to do any guesswork. It's just, I'm not going near that dog. It doesn't like me.
Yeah, this is true, guys. And another thing that you want to look out for too is just the red dilating eyes. You can tell, especially as a dog groomer, because we see so many dogs. Those if a dog is staring at you, snarling, and they have those red dilating eyes, guys, the dog is definitely stressing, okay? So you have to, again, reconsider whether or not you want to deal with this dog, right? And I don't recommend that you do deal with a dog like that unless you are a trained, skilled, professional dog groomer. And there are some amazing dog groomers out there that will deal with a situation like that. But these are signs to look out for. Okay. Another thing is, along with being an aggressive dog, you can have an aggressive older dog, with like a weak heart. Okay, guys, this is where you really, really need to be super, super careful, because, it could be, a do or not do moment for the dog. I mean, you may stress an older dog with a weak heart so badly that it goes into like a severe seizure. Okay. And now you have a very, very bad problem on your hands, and you want to try to avoid this at all costs. Okay. So, another thing with an older aggressive dog is, they don't stand well. Everything seems to hurt them. Their skin is very hypersensitive. So you put a clipper or a blade on an older dog's skin, and the skin is very soft too as the dogs get older. You can very, very easily nick a dog or severely cut a dog in a situation like that, especially if the dog's moving around a lot. So again, guys, unless you're a skilled pro, then don't do it. Again, you got to stop in a situation like that and seek another method.
Knowing this stuff is especially important with older dogs, like you were just saying, because Overstressing a dog with a weak heart can go even further than seizures. It can stop the heart, which would unalive your dog. And that is something to obviously avoid at all costs. There's no coming back from that, unfortunately, and it's a serious, it's a serious thing that can happen. So this is why groomers need to know this, especially new groomers, when to stop when a dog is overstressing. That's why the signs, whether the dog is old or young or aggressive or not, the signs of a dog being overstressed can't be emphasized enough here, especially with older dogs. I recommend when your dog is of a certain age where you as the pet owner might even question a little bit how much your dog can put up with at the age that they're at, maybe get them screened by a vet. Vet can check them out, see how their lungs are, just see how how their heart is. They can listen to their heart. And that way your vet can tell you if your dog is even well enough to get groomed. The dogs have to deal with a lot with this process. Not always stress related. It's just it's an up environment. It's noisy. There's dryers going. There's other dogs going. There's water shooting around from the tubs and all of that stuff. It's just a busy environment. So even if your dog isn't stressed, if your dog is that old, it might just not be the most comfortable situation for them to be in, let's say.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely get your dog screened by a vet. Especially like Anthony said, your older dog. And there's a big misconception about people saying that you can't put an older dog under anesthesia. This isn't true, guys. And you have to let that be determined by your vet. If you go to a good vet is going to check the heart. He's going to check the lungs. And as long as, there's no other underlying issues, as long as the lungs are strong and the heart is strong, an older dog can very well be put under anesthesia. We see it all the time. And again, this is where you go to your vet and you let them determine that, and making sure that the dog is healthy enough to go under, because that may be the thing that you have to do to get your dog groomed. They do it a lot with teeth scaling and teeth cleaning. Older dogs have issues where they sometimes have to get surgeries, so they do have to get put under anesthesia. And a lot of times, if a dog is just so stressed because of the grooming, you may have to just kind of maybe do that dog a couple times a year, put the dog under anesthesia and give it a good shave down, because the dog just does too horribly at a groomer and can't go through the stress at a groomer. So going under anesthesia is the thing to do in that situation. But again, let your vet determine whether or not your dog is healthy enough to do that. So another thing that we want to get into here, and this part's crucial. This is for the groomers out there and people who are trying to groom their own dogs, is the misuse of any grooming restraints. For example, the harnesses, right? There's some people that they call them anti-gravity harnesses, and you'll see it on some of the videos where the harness is holding up the dog and it's strung up and it's hooked onto a grooming arm. Okay. These restraints are really, really good if used properly. One of the things that you can't let happen is you can't have a dog stressing and freaking out in that harness for too long of a period of time. So if you are going to use an anti-gravity harness like that, you have to do the job quickly. Okay, you can't keep him up there for an hour. His body will start to fatigue. It'll be too much pressure on the rib cage, on the spleen. You have to be very, very careful using this. Again, only a skilled, trained, professional groomer should be using this. And you guys know what I mean. Your time is limited in doing that. And again, if the dog is freaking out that badly, take him off. Get it off. It's not a good idea. You can't use that harness. Because the dog is just freaking out too much. Another thing is loops, okay? Loops are generally put around the neck, but if the dog is freaking out too much, you may have to put that loop under the arm and the chest cavity, because you don't want to create too much pressure around the neck, especially on a small dog. It's just too difficult to on the neck. It's too taxing. And again, you don't want the dog to seizure out or choke itself. Another thing is the groomer's helper. It's a great tool. Again, if used correctly, guys, the groomer's helper goes around the neck and then it connects to the grooming arm where it keeps the dog's head restrained. But if the dog is freaking out and going crazy and pulling away, you have to imagine that this dog is just so stressed out, it can very well go into a seizure, and you want to avoid that, guys.
And a big thing with restraints that a lot of people actually overlook, I've noticed, is muzzles. There are certain muzzles that I feel like muzzles are a thing where you just kind of go on Amazon, and if you don't know this stuff, you just click the one with the highest reviews or whatever without giving a second thought to how it's going to feel to the dog. You have a here. Let me see that.
This one.
You have a basket muzzle.
Yeah, this is
so
what we use.
This is what we use. These are called basket muzzles, and these are great because the dog. You see all that room? There's so much room in there. So when the dog puts its face in there, it has all this room to pant. See, my fingers got all this room to roam in there. So the dog could pant. It's free to breathe the way it feels necessary at the time. As opposed to those muzzles that I hate, they're Velcro muzzles where you basically tie it. They're like tie muzzles where it completely closes the dog's mouth and restrains it closed. And some people will argue that, oh, well, the dog's nose is all the way out here and it could breathe through the nose. And so if you don't believe me about how uncomfortable that is for the dog, put yourself in a real stressful situation and then cover your mouth and not allow yourself to breathe through your mouth. Good luck. Just it doesn't work that way. If the dog is that stressed out, which is what we're talking about here. We're not talking about just a dog who's totally chill on the table. You have to picture the dog stressing. You're really going to block its mouth like that. Let the dog pant. The dog can't breathe right if you have its muzzle completely Velcroed shut. It's restricting the airway in ways that it's not meant to be restricted. And you don't even know if it's not loose enough, the dog might not be able to breathe at all.
Yeah.
So no wonder it's going to be freaking out on you. And if you're too laxed about that, you're going to look at that and you're going to go, what did I do? You're not even going to know how to fix it because you're just going to assume, oh man, this dog just really hates the groom. And meanwhile, the dog just can't breathe. Yeah. So pick your muzzles very, very carefully. I always recommend the basket muzzles that we use that I just showed you. They come in different sizes. They're perfect for the job. They're just perfect for it. There's really that's why we don't ever really recommend any other kind of muzzles because they come from this big to freaking huge. So they fit any breed that you can have. And sometimes with these kinds of things, it's all in all with everything we're telling you. Sometimes it's just a 2-person job. You just can't do it by yourself. You need somebody there with you.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. It can be a 2-person job a lot of times. That's why I really can't groom a lot of dogs without Anthony's help. He holds dogs a lot for me, especially when I'm clipping nails on a smaller dog. He will hold the dog. If a dog is aggressive, we will use a basket muzzle every once in a while. We'll even use a cone. And Anthony will kind of keep the head away from my hand as I clip the nails. If you are going to use those muzzles, the wraparound muzzles or the Velcro muzzles, again, they have to be used very, very briefly and only by a professional. And there's some amazing groomers that know how to use these tools. We particularly don't use them because we just don't want to do that. We don't want to risk it. But 2-person job could be the answer. Also, sometimes the owner could stay with you, or you can book dogs after hours. We do that a lot on a dog that requires special attention, maybe a little bit more stressed out, separation anxiety. We will book that dog after hours, like in the evening, 5 o'clock, and we'll spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with that customer. And if you're a groomer that does that, hey guys, guess what? A little bit more money for that because now you're working on that dog exclusively, okay? And that dog's going to take you more time. So as a groomer, you have to know your worth. And if you're willing to work with certain dogs, you're saving the client a lot of money because they would have to get that dog done at the vet, which is going to cost them, $400, and you're willing to do it for $150. So again, know your worth as a groomer. And yeah, it's just a lot of times you just have to sedate a dog, or you have to put the dog under anesthesia if it's just too stressful of a process for the dog.
Like we said earlier, work with your vet. All in all, with all of these tips, make sure your dog is in good health. That's the most important thing, and that goes for groomers and pet owners alike. Just make sure your dog is in good health. And especially if you're a groomer, or even if you're grooming your dog at home, if you're unsure about anything really, this topic happens to be about overstressing. But if you're unsure about anything, even if it's something with a grooming tool, clippers, scissors, whatever, if you're unsure about anything, just stop. Stopping is always the answer, because nothing can happen if you stop. So just stop if you're unsure about anything. In this specific case, if your dog is overstressing and they don't look right to you, or they're getting the red eyes like he was saying earlier, or any of the things that we talked about, just stop. Yeah. Just stop, reassess, take the dog off the table, reassess the situation.
Yeah, and use your own discretion. Like Anthony just said, you have to really be hands-on, notice what's happening, notice the dog, okay? And again, just stop if you feel that the dog is overstressed. You stop the grooming.
Thank you guys so much once again for joining us for another episode of the Grooming by Rudy podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. You could also go to our other channel. It's called Grooming by Rudy. We have lots of helpful dog grooming tips and tutorials for you over there. If you have any interest at all in any of the products that we mentioned in this video, go to petedge.com, use promo code Rudy5 and save $5 off of any orders of $100 or more. Thank you guys once again for joining us, and until next time, take care.